Pirates of the Ocean, Forgotten Tales of the Deep, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Shorty Seaweed is a pirate. He always has been. And as such, he has experienced quite the adventures on a ship and sometimes on the shores of the tropical regions. But this story beat them all. What he faces is brutal enemies and the extravagant forces of nature. This adventure will be a page-turner, so go ahead and keep listening. Find out what Shorty Seaweed did to stay alive and secure his future. Chapter 1. Wind in the Sails. The wind was strong. It wasn't like a storm was coming, but we could all feel it. It was as if the seas were sensing the upcoming of death and destruction. We saw the ship. We all looked at it. This was going to be the one we were about to board. We were planning a full attack, and we were maneuvering around it, so we could all swing to it on the port side of our ship. I am Shorty Seaweed. I received the nickname when I got stuck in seaweed one time, and the name had always stuck with me after that. Most of the mates on the ship just called me Shorty, though. Calling someone by a name with more than one or two syllables seemed like too much effort. "Shorty, get the sails!" one of the men shouted. His name was Barlow Trap. "I'm on it!" I yelled back. It started raining. Maybe a storm was brewing. But after some time, I noticed it only turned into some sprinkles. I always hated attacking another ship during a storm. Our ship was approaching the sailors' ship. They were exporting all kinds of goods, from food to valuable items, jewelry, and linen. Each item could be sold, if obtained, at the black market. Our purpose was to commandeer the ship and hold its occupants prisoner until we would find land. I always preferred capturing people or taking them hostage over killing them. I wasn't the type of guy who delighted in the spilling of blood, but sometimes they just wouldn't cooperate, and it would almost be self-defense to stab them before they stabbed me. I hated guns. I have to be honest. All the powder you had to stuff into those old weapons and the reloading process. I was hoping that someday someone would invent something fancier, like a gun that would shoot 50 rounds in a row without reloading. But for now, no genius scientist had thought of such a thing. So this was all we had. No, I preferred the sword. I had been practicing with it for countless hours. I had become quite the skilled sword fighter, I must say, and I enjoyed it a lot. Barlow Trap was an interesting character, too. You could never tell what he was thinking. His mind worked in a strange way, but he certainly always fought hard. He was obsessed with the color green. All his outfits were green. Well, he only had 2 different outfits, and when he wanted to wash them, he would just dive into the sea. And now, too, during the preparations for the attack, he was wearing his green outfit. "Arr!" he yelled when the 2 ships crashed against each other. He had the thickest pirate accent I had ever heard. Some of the pirates were already swinging to the other ship. I was on the mast, and I always liked adventures, so I jumped down, grabbed a rope, as if there was no gravity whatsoever, and landed on the other ship. The merchants were startled and surrendered quickly. "Arr! Hand over your treasure," Barlow said. The merchants put their hands up in the air, and one of them showed us the way to the hold. Another merchant tried to defend himself in vain. He died by the sword. Stupid. He should have just surrendered like the rest of them. But oh well, nothing we could do about that anymore. Barlow and one other pirate came back and yelled, "We have some meat and ladies' clothes, boys!" All the pirates cheered. "And as a bonus for your generosity," I added, "we won't sink your ship and let you on our way after we plunder it to the core. Sounds fair?" "Oh, great. Thank you. You are generous indeed," one of the merchants answered sheepishly, while a pirate held the tip of his sword close to his throat. "We are glad you came. We didn't want all that heavy stuff anyway, right, guys?" We divided tasks. Some of us kept the merchants under control, while others were hauling in the loot. I noticed some of my co-pirates carrying big chests and heavy barrels to our ship. One of them was already drinking rum. I guessed he just couldn't wait. Alcohol addiction of some sort. Another pirate was trying on a new hat and laughed as he pulled out a lady's dress. It was a fine day for us. We could go at it for another week or two, especially if we could sell the swag. Chapter 2: Hidden Treasure. We left the ship to the merchants and sailed off to the horizon. The captain of our ship, Captain Skull, still hadn't come out of his cabin. None of us ever saw him. I knew one or two pirates who claimed they had seen him, but those were just rumors. It was interesting to sail without a captain, or at least without one that commanded us at every opportunity. We were left to steer the ship in whichever direction it pleased us. But I was wondering if Captain Skull was really there, or if there was something else going on. And if he was there, then why did he never come out of his cabin? It was strange, but I had accepted it for so long that I stopped caring. "Look at what we've got here," Barlow said. "A treasure chest." "Looks awfully small to me," I said, as I looked at the tiny, dusty chest he held in his hands. "But hey," I said, "it could be something good. Let's open it." He opened the small chest and took out a piece of paper. We both looked disappointed. "Is that all?" Barlow asked. "That's dumb," I agreed. "Useless, or so it seems." "Hold on," he said. "This is a map." "A map to what?" "Treasure, of course. What else would it lead to?" "Okay, we are just assuming that, aren't we? But let's take a closer look." Barlow was right. The map was a treasure map, but it was vague. Certain parts were blurry, and does it make sense that I didn't get very excited about names such as Death Valley and Damaging Deep? It didn't sound like anything I wanted to do. Sounds dangerous," I said. "What if we just sleep on it? We will have a better judgment tomorrow." "Oh, don't be absurd," Barlow said with his pirate accent. "We will set sail for it after we sell the loot at the next harbor." "Sure, I can live with that. Maybe I will just stay there a little longer, eh?" "You will do no such thing. We need you more than anyone. Come on, boy, grow a spine." I didn't like where this was going, but I held my peace and accepted the new venture. We set sail to the nearest harbor and unloaded the cargo. I didn't feel like getting drunk with the other pirates, so I volunteered to guard our things. The evening fell. It was getting dark. Chapter 3: The Woman. The night was still young, and from the distant mists a young woman appeared. She wandered around a little and stepped into such inconsistent directions that she kind of looked drunk. But by the look in her eyes, I could tell that she wasn't. Maybe she was just a little different. Who knew? Or perhaps she was checking out the crates on the dock. She introduced herself and said her name was Shelley Burden. "And who might you be?" she asked. "I am Shorty. Most people call me Shorty Seaweed because of an occurrence. Never mind. My friends just call me Shorty." "And what are you doing here, Seaweed?" she asked. How rude. I just told her that my friends call me. Who did she think she was? Whatever. "I am keeping an eye on this cargo," I said. "Ah, such fine cargo indeed," she said as she walked past the crates and touched them one by one, stroking her hand across the surface. "And where might these oh-so-precious items come from, Seaweed?" "No, they don't come from seaweed," I said while I chuckled. However, she did not look entertained at all. "Ahem," I continued. "They are from the East. Yes, the East. That's where they're from. We are merchants, you see, and we are just delivering these to Lord Albrecht. He is the one we are seeking." I was struggling with my lies. I could tell she saw right through me. "Look," she said, interrupting me, I'm not stupid. I know you stole these goods. I recognize piracy pretty fast, so don't try to fool me." I got a little ticked off and said, "If you already know where they're coming from, then why do you even bother asking me?" "I just wanted to see if you would be honest about it, but I guess I can't expect too much from a pirate. But I'll be honest and tell you why I am here. You're going to get me on board of that ship." "Oh yeah? And why would I do that?" "Because if you don't, then I know exactly whom to tell what you have here. I am sure some of the gentlemen at the city hall and beyond will be very interested in what these crates contain." "I don't understand," I said. "Why are you eager to get on board? We are just a pirate ship. We have nothing to offer you." "Yes, you do," she said confidently. "I have my sources, you know. A reliable friend told me about what her friend told her. Her friend said that she heard from the ladies at the bars that they had been eavesdropping in the kitchen area, where the bartender went to get more rum, and told his wife he overheard a conversation between your crew and another, who mentioned that they heard you mention a treasure chest when you were on the ship opening a small chest. Does that sound familiar?" Wow. What a roundabout way of hearing about it. Yes, the chest sounds familiar, but we don't even know if the treasure is real. And did they mention it was going to be dangerous? "She mentioned that too, but I don't mind. I got nothing to lose." "Well, I guess I don't have a choice, do I?" I said. "You don't, so just go with it. I will see you tomorrow. Just let the captain know I will be part of this crew." She walked away and disappeared in the darkness of the night. "That's more of a problem than you think," I sighed. The next day, we sold our goods easily. The things we had obtained were valuable in the eyes of the commoners, and we set the price low. Barlow wanted to make sure we wouldn't waste any time. He was so impatient about the whole treasure thing that he almost decided to leave the cargo for what it was and take off without selling it. I was certain our competitors at the markets and docks hated what we were doing, but we just needed something, not an entire month's income. Suddenly, I saw Shelley again. She walked straight at me. "Did you notify the captain?" she asked. Sort of." "What do you mean? Didn't you tell him?" "Well, that's just it. He never comes out of his cabin. I haven't even seen him yet. Some of the crew wonder if he's even real." "So who does that leave in charge?" she demanded to know. "Barlow, I guess. He is usually the one telling everyone what to do." "Okay, you go tell Barlow that I am joining your crew." I wasn't looking forward to it, but what choice did I have? She pretty much blackmailed me by telling me about her connections at the city hall. I wouldn't want to risk prison, not for just having a woman on board. I put my doubts aside and walked over to Barlow. "Ahem," I started.
Shorty, what be your question?"
"Someone who is about to blackmail us wants to come with us."
"Sure. I despise blackmail, but I do it a lot myself. And who be the lucky fellow that will accompany us on our journey?"
"Not really a fellow," I said.
A parrot then."
"No, not a parrot."
"A dog? A monkey? An animal of some sort?"
"You're digging way too deep, Barlow. It's a woman. Her name is Shelley Burden." The crew got quiet. The men stacking up crates or unloading cargo looked up. Others stopped walking, and one of them dropped a bottle of rum that shattered into 1,000 pieces on the pavement. They all looked at us.
"A woman, you say?"
Barlow asked. "Aye, a woman." One of the other pirates came closer.
"It's bad luck to have a woman on board," he said. "My nephew's cousin's niece's uncle's ex-wife told my brother about her former husband, who was swallowed by the sea because of a bad omen. She was certain it was because they had a woman on board. Besides, her last name is Burden. What if she really becomes a burden to us?"
"Is that so?" Shelley asked, who had secretly been listening. "And what happened to the rest of the sailors on that ship your brother heard about?"
"They survived, of course."
Then how come they weren't affected by your so-called female curse? The pirate didn't have an answer to that. Sometimes I thought our crew wasn't the brightest. They were simple souls, looking for a means to get by. They were all not very educated, which I had noticed numerous times before. If you don't let me on board and let me have a portion of that treasure you're seeking, she said, then I will tell the governor and he will lock you up one by one. Barlow looked at me, then he looked at her. He looked at the crew, and he made a decision.
You may come, but you better be working like everyone else. We have no room for lazy scoundrels, agreed?
Agreed. And that's how she became part of the crew. Chapter 4. Shipwrecked.
Let's go, everyone aboard,
Barlow yelled. We had sold most of our load and were going to set sail and head towards the treasure. With the tattered map in hand, I controlled the ship to my best ability. And even though I didn't want to go there, we had to go through that part of the sea which was called the damaging deep. I hoped that it wouldn't damage our ship. Little did I know how much of a disaster it was going to be. We arrived at the designated part. It was like a strait. There were rocks and islands on each side, and the only way to reach the other side was to zigzag through those islands. We navigated through it slowly, making sure we wouldn't hit a rock and get stuck. And all went well, for a while. But then we saw a gigantic splash. The water went everywhere, and even covered the deck. We didn't sink, but we had to assign half of the crew members to get buckets and remove the water from the ship. It was chaotic, but it wasn't over yet.
Slam!
The entire ship was shaking because of a big thud from some unknown object or creature from the depths. Pirates fell over, items were broken, and I almost lost control of the ship by letting go of the helm. And then I saw it. It arose, all the way to far above our ship. It was humongous and hideous, as if hell itself spat out this monstrosity. The only resemblance between the creature and a water snake was the shape, but the size wasn't even comparable. It was more like a dragon, one that was 3 times bigger than our ship. No wonder they called it the damaging deep. This thing wasn't just going to damage us, it was going to sink us. The first attack hit us hard. It completely broke the mast. I watched as 2 equally large pieces of mast flew by.
Shoot it,
Barlow commanded. I am trying to shoot it, Shelley yelled back. This doesn't do it any harm. The sea monster attacked again, this time biting some of the sails in half. A few pirates got eaten, and one of them jumped overboard. I tried to keep the ship steady with all my might, but it didn't go anywhere. It was stranded.
We've got to get off, Barlow said. There is no point in fighting this thing. We are all going to die. Abandon ship! Abandon ship!
I wasn't going to let him tell me a second time. This was good enough. I felt uncomfortable staying on a ship that was about to break into pieces anyway. So I put the map in my inside pocket and jumped into the water. The other surviving crew members did the shorty, and soon enough the water was full of swimming pirates. I like your hair wet, one of the pirates told Shelley. Oh, shut up. Look at our ship. It's gone. The ship was broken in half, just like the mast and a few other things. We were left to ourselves, and we all swam to the nearest island. There we watched with sad faces as the dragon snake was eating the remaining parts.
This is a major setback, Barlow said. There goes our ship.
I told you that having a woman on board meant bad luck, one of the pirates said. Oh, just be silent, you, Shelley said. It would have happened no matter what. This place is just not safe. Chapter 5. Quick Threats. We were stranded on one of the many islands and gazed around. It was one of the bigger ones, not like the little patches of land we had seen on either side. The beach was covered by beautiful white sand, and palm trees waved their leaves in the opposite direction of the tropical breeze. It all looked so paradisiacal, but we were stuck nonetheless. Suddenly, I noticed something interesting. "Hey," I said, "look at the mountain over there."
"Aye, what about it?"
Barlow asked. "It looks exactly like the mountain on the map, see? It has the shorty shape."
"Fish hooks and shark tails. You are correct, Shorty. This is the island we're supposed to be at."
"Let me see that," Shelley said. She looked at it for a few seconds and said, "I can hardly believe it. What a coincidence."
Let's fetch that treasure,"
Barlow said. "Hold on," I protested. "This map says we have to go through Death Valley to get there and walk all the way up the mountain." "What's the matter, pirate?" Shelley asked. "Are you scared of a little adventure?" No, it's just dangerous. That's all." "Well, I'll hold your hand if you are too afraid," she replied. "Pfft, let's go," I said, a bit offended that she suggested I wasn't brave enough. "I'll have you hold my hand," another pirate said. "Get out of here," was the answer. We started walking towards the mountain. It was a long walk, definitely one that would take us hours and hours. The mountain looked so close when I first saw it, but it was immense and majestic, towering over the rest of the island. It made sense that it was far away. We walked from the beach to a jungle and hacked our way through the lush green bushes. And then we saw it. Death Valley. "This must be it," I said. "Look at the spacing of this area." Death Valley was empty and rocky, but it was like a big ditch in the middle of the island. The mountain was on the other side, but first we had to descend hundreds of feet to pass through it. The bushes were gone. The trees started again on the other side. It was as if something had been rotting here for centuries. The smell was awful. We all walked down into the valley. "Say, Barlow, what will you do if we do find the treasure?"
"Go ashore and drink lots of rum, mate. That's what I be doing."
"What about you, Shorty? What would you do with that kind of money?" Shelley asked. "I don't know. Probably start a family and settle down, I guess. It sounds like the better life to me."
You cannot start a family by yourself, boy. You gotta find yourself a lassie," Barlow commented. I know, and hopefully I will by that time." Shelley looked at me, but I was too stuck on trying to read the map. The reason I know this is because she told me later that my remark caught her attention. As we kept walking, the air appeared to be gloomier by the minute. A creepy fog was covering the entire valley, and we all felt that we were doomed to walk into a trap of some sort. All of a sudden, we heard a crackling noise from beneath us. A skeleton, buried in the earth, arose and stood up in front of us. "Ah!"
the men yelled.
Don't be fools. These can be killed,"
Barlow said as he thrust his sword through the skeleton. The skeleton fell down and didn't get up again, but instead, hundreds of other ones did. We watched the soil move all around us and faced numerous skeletons emerge from the ground. "Run!" I yelled. We all started running into the direction of the mountains, but some of the pirates tripped over bones or rocks, while others had to fight off a skeleton or two in front of them. It didn't take long before we were completely surrounded. Most of the crew had died already, and only 4 of us were left. "Watch out!" I shouted, but my cry was in vain. The pirate got smashed by a skeleton, and 10 other skeletons jumped on him, beating him to death. Now there were only the 3 of us, Shelley, Barlow, and me.
"We're gonna die, mates. Prepare to meet your maker," Barlow said.
"Any last words?" I asked Shelley. The skeletons were getting closer. Slowly but certainly, hundreds of them were closing in on us. Shelley looked around, and didn't hesitate any longer. She grabbed my head, pulled it close to her, and kissed me on the lips. I kissed her back, and then asked, "What was that for?" "I just don't want to be alone in the afterlife," she said. "I liked you from the moment we met, but I put up a wall and wasn't going to tell you. Now I can rest in peace." I had mixed emotions. I was about to die, but a beautiful girl had just declared her love for me too. Chapter 6. The Crazy Captain. We put our backs against each other, ready to take any skeleton down that would attempt to attack us. With desperation, we waited for their assaults, but then we heard something. Whoosh! A strong gush of wind came at us. But what was more, the skeletons all fell over and stopped moving, just like that. What was going on here? "Am I late?" a pirate asked while emerging from the misty air. He was wearing a skull mask and the outfit of a true captain. We were all shocked. Was this our captain, or was it some stranger who came to rescue us?
"Aye, you are late," Barlow said. "The rest of the crew has died. You should have come sooner."
"Sorry about that,"
the man with the skull mask said.
"I was following you, but I couldn't catch up. I am proud of your speed on land. Now we just have to apply that to manning the ship."
I got confused. What ship? Who are you? What are you doing here? And how did you kill all those skeletons?
"My name is Captain Skull. I have been on the Shorty's ship since the beginning. I just never had the desire to come out of my cabin. I don't like the crew. Bunch of rough scallywags. But a treasure? Let's go get it."
So, how did you do that with
The skeletons? Oh, they are nothing to me. I was a practicing necromancer for years. I know how to deal with the undead. Now let's get moving. I built a small ship from bones. Let's get that treasure and sail away.
From bones? I said. "Oh, come on, Shorty," Shelley said. "It's okay. We'll see when we get there. Let's just do what he says and follow the map." And so I stopped asking questions, and we followed this strange captain of our previous ship across the valley and into the jungle up the mountain. We didn't talk much. The hike up the mountain was exhausting enough, and in this tropical climate, the sweat was literally dripping from our faces. Wherever we could find clean water, we filled up the one bottle we had snatched from the ship before it sunk. It was tough, and it was getting hotter and hotter. Soon we came to realize why. Chapter 7. Volcano. We finally reached a point where the map indicated that we must be near the treasure. I looked again and then looked up. Lava! No wonder it was getting so hot here. Red and yellow streams of lava were flowing from the top of the mountain. "We don't have to go in there, do we?" I asked. "We'll die. We'll burn to death. And don't tell me I'm scared. I'm just being realistic."
I know, Barlow said. "Nobody said you were afraid. It's impossible, that's what it is."
"But it's not in there," Captain Skull said. "It's in that cave over there, see?"
He pointed at a cave in the mountain we all didn't see before. It seemed like he was right. The map did show a small cave near the hot crater, and it looked exactly like the cave on the map, so we decided to go there. Within minutes, we arrived at the cave and went inside. I had taken a big branch and lit it on fire by holding it in the lava streams. It was lighting our way in the cave, so we wouldn't have to be in the dark while looking for the treasure. It took about 15 minutes before we saw it. Wow! It was actually there. A dusty old chest, which probably had the treasure in it. "Nice," I said. "Let's open it together." We all tried, but it wouldn't budge. "Out of the way, amateurs," Shelley said. She knelt down, and I don't know what she did, but not too much longer, she opened it up. "Ta-da!" she said. What a woman, I thought. She certainly had some tricks up her sleeve. We were anxious to look inside, but when we did, we only saw 2 coins. What? Only 2 coins?
Well, that's stupid,
Captain Skull said.
You guys can have them.
Arr, I want none of that. You have them,
Barlow said. Okay, I answered. I don't mind. Who knows what they're worth?
Probably nothing,
Captain Skull said.
We are wasting our time here. Let's get out of here. Follow me to the ship.
Hey, what about me? Shelley asked. I want one of those. Sure, I said. Do you want this one or that one? One of the coins had the image of a man on it, the other a woman. I'll take the one with the woman on it, of course, she said. I gave her the coin and stood up, but fell back down again because suddenly the ground was shaking.
Uh-oh, that doesn't feel good,
Captain Skull said.
This is a volcano, remember? We better go now. Let's go, let's go, let's go!
And the running began. We left the cave and looked up. Big vapors of smoke came from the top of the giant volcano. Lava was being spat out by this monstrous piece of nature as we hurried down through the jungle. Zigzagging through trees and burning bushes, we covered our mouths to prevent ourselves from suffocating.
This way,
Captain Skull commanded. We followed him as fast as we could, and when we approached the shore, we saw his bone ship. It wasn't big, but it was impressive how it was built. Everything, literally everything, was made out of bones. How did you do this? And where did you get the bones? I asked.
Do you want to get burned, boy? Get on board and I will explain it later,
Captain Skull said. I looked back and saw the volcano erupt. It was loud and threatening, and it was about to kill us. The captain went onto the ship, and we did too. Then he went to the prow and spanned the helm once, as forceful as he could. It was a magical ship. The ship immediately dashed forward, faster than any ship I had ever seen. It was mysterious how this worked. When we were far enough from the bursting flames and the fiery flowing lava, I asked the captain again how he made the ship.
I learned how to do this from a fortune teller. She might have been a witch since she effectively used magic and taught me how to do it too. Here, I'll give you her name on a piece of paper. You may find her advice useful as well. She is called Meredith. I am sure you will be able to find her at the harbor we're going to. Sounds good?
Great, I am anxious to meet her, I replied.
You'll like her,
he added.
She is, well, her and I were, well, she is a great woman.
I am sure she is, I said with a smile on my face. The wind was blowing in my face. I loved it. Finally, we were able to return to the harbor. Chapter 8. At the Harbor. Sea monsters, skeletons, volcanoes. I was happy to be safe again. We had traveled for days, but eventually we arrived without any further problems. Shelley came to me when we stepped off the ship. So, shall we look for that Meredith of his? Sounds like a good plan, I said. We went to all the taverns and public places we could find to inquire of her. Most people had never heard of her, but one woman told us exactly where she lived. We walked through the streets to the designated address and knocked on the door. It was an old house, and some of the roof was missing. The windows were dark and halfway covered, and spider webs were all over the place. After I knocked, I doubted if anyone had even been living there recently, but right before we were about to leave, a woman opened up. I have to admit, I expected her to be a lot uglier, knowing that she was referred to as a witch. But she was pretty. Not as pretty as Shelley, in my opinion, but still. How can I help you? The lady asked. We heard that you can give people advice and help them, maybe even with magic, I said. Come on in and I will read your hand, she said. Ah, that will be interesting, Shelley said. We went inside and noticed all the decorations. items, and strange objects in each corner. She sat us down at a table and took a seat on the other side.
"Give me your hands," she said.
She grabbed both of our hands at the shorty time and closed her eyes. She breathed in deeply and started mumbling about something strange. Then she opened her eyes and said,
"You are in love."
I looked at her. What? Well, I don't know if I would go as far as to say that.
"Yes, we are," Shelley said quickly.
"Shorty is just a little shy to admit it." I was okay with that, and okay, she was right. I did fall for her. Then Meredith looked at Shelley and said,
"Where are the coins?"
"Coins? What coins?"
"You took coins from a volcanic mountain area. Where are they?"
"How did you— Oh, never mind. Here is mine. Shorty, show her the other one." I grabbed the coin with the man image out of my pocket and showed it to her. She took them both and said,
"Because you each have one coin, you are joined together. This is why you are in love."
"Sure," Shelley said while she chuckled. She didn't believe this woman because she already liked me before we had the coins. "So what are we going to do with that information?" I asked. She looked at me with big eyes and said,
"I don't know. You figure it out. You are the ones who are in love. Dating, getting married, having kids. It's your life. I don't care. I was in love once myself, and we never finished what we started. Don't end up like me."
I raised my eyebrows. "Who was it you were in love with?"
"His name was Colbert, and I taught him everything I knew. I taught him how to raise the dead, how to quickly create a ship from bones, and much more. But when he went on a trip, I never heard from him again. I still don't know what happened to him."
I laughed and looked at Shelley. She looked at me and was in awe. Could this be Captain Skull? Nah, that would be so weird. Then she turned to Meredith and said,
"I will give you my coin, the one with the woman on it. We just may have an idea where this Colbert is hanging out. Don't worry, we'll take care of it."
Meredith looked surprised, but she let us go and held on to the coin. Outside, Shelley asked me, "Are you thinking what I am thinking?" "Yes, we will hand Captain Skull the coin, and then they'll be together eventually."
"He will never accept it, especially with his cynical attitude towards stuff like that. I mean, he believes in magic, obviously, but he didn't even want to see what the coins were worth. No, I have a better idea. Let's just stuff it in his pocket so that he'll have it without knowing it."
"Sure," I said. "Let's go find him." It wasn't hard to find a ship made out of bones, since it was the only one in the entire harbor, so we simply went to him and pretended to be interested in his pirate adventures. "What is one of the most dangerous trips you've been on?" I asked.
"Well, let me tell you. We were hungry and thirsty, but there was a giant cliff, and we had to be on deck even though most of the crew were sick. So we—"
While I was listening intently, or at least pretending to, Shelley walked around him and quickly dropped the coin in his pocket. We let him finish his story, asking lots of questions so he wouldn't get suspicious, and then left him there. I don't know exactly what happened to Colbert or Captain Skull, but I am certain that I saw him together with Meredith at the docks a few months later. And me, I married Shelley. It went faster than I thought. 6 months later, we were married, and 2 years later, I was carrying my first kid on my shoulders. My dream had come true. The pirate life was over. I had finally settled down, and it was all thanks to this adventure. The end. This has been Pirates of the Ocean, Forgotten Tales of the Deep, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.